We begin with breaking news at 6. A grand jury indicting former Uvalde CISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo and a former district officer in connection with the Robb Elementary shooting. That's according to the parents of several victims who spoke to ABC News. We also have been told just within the last couple of minutes that former Chief Arredondo is currently in custody at the Uvalde County Jail.
The Uvalde Leader News reports that Arredondo, the former chief, and Adrian Gonzalez face felony counts of abandoning and endangering a child. That grand jury was convened in January of this year. You might recall Arredondo was fired from the department a month after that shooting. Gonzalez stepped down in January of 2023. Victims' families tell ABC News they will meet with the Uvalde County District Attorney Christina Mitchell tomorrow. We have a crew headed to Uvalde right now, and we'll have the latest on the night beat as well as on KSAT.com.
And now to a political showdown where the focus could be on their backyards. Those who live on the Texas border say they're going to be watching as President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump debate tonight.
How to address border issues and the migrants who try to cross there will undoubtedly be discussed. Our Daniela Ibarra spoke with voters who live in Eagle Pass about what they're hoping to hear tonight.
Eagle Pass has become a backdrop for so many politicians when talking about the border, and Shelby Park has become a political stage. Former President Donald Trump visited Shelby Park in February. That same day, President Joe Biden stopped in Brownsville. Dueling visits highlighting a central concern for voters ahead of tonight's debate.
What are you hoping candidates talk about?
Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to talk about border security. That's been the main issue the last couple of years.
Francisco Hernandez says he's frustrated by how Biden's border policies are impacting his Western wear business. Bridges closed in December as Border Patrol shifted focus to a surge in migrants. Men, women, and children huddled near Shelby Park waiting to be processed.
A lot of them are looking, for opportunity and stuff like that, which is totally fine. But like we've said before, there's a legal way to do it. Through the law, through the system.
While business bounces back, Hernandez wants change with how the border is being handled.
I'd be very disappointed to talk to President Biden and tell him, hey, I don't think you're doing that very good of a job.
Maverick County Democratic Chair Juanita Martinez believes the president is doing what he can.
He said, we're working on it. We're going to pass some legislation.
She feels like Republicans are using her hometown as a political pawn.
This is just political propaganda. It is not what is actually happening here in Eagle Pass, Maverick County. And if you come today, yes, it got a little dicey there for a bit.
While the border is literally in their backyard, Eagle Pass voters say it's not the only issue they care about.
And I care about those immigrants that are being treated inhumanely. But we care about human rights. I care about public education.
Is your mind made up for when it comes to who you're going to vote for?
Pretty much, yeah. Gas prices, groceries, everything was cheaper, a few years ago when Donald Trump was in office. And it affects everything.
That was our Daniela Ibarra reporting. As we mentioned, the debate starts at 8 tonight. You can watch it right here on KSAT 12. We will also be live streaming that debate on KSAT.com and KSAT Plus. To watch our live stream of the debate, just scan the QR code right there on your screen.
This is what part of Quintana Road looked like on the afternoon of June 27th, 2022, a street filled with first responders.
All called to the scene of what would become the deadliest migrant smuggling incident on U.S. soil. Of the 67 people found in the back of a tractor trailer, 53 of them died.
And 2 years later, they're being remembered along that same stretch of road on the city's southwest side.
Our Avery Everett joined us from the site where this tragedy played out.
53 blocks of limestone represent the 53 lives lost here 2 years ago on Quintana Road. This memorial was created by the city with the help of the community, and the people who died here have been the priority in this planning process. Each block's height has a purpose. They correspond to how old each victim was. There's also now a plaque showing the countries these people came from, and the crosses created just after the tragedy still stand, naming those 53 victims. An official with Public Works says that this is yet to be completely finished, but for families, friends, and even strangers of these 53 victims, they say that this is a place to come to pay respects and to pray. It's a hard day for so many people coming here to Quintana Road to remember those 53 lives lost, but the community says they're determined to make sure that those lives were never forgotten. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
Tonight, we're getting our first look at what led to a Hays County Sheriff's deputy shooting and killing an inmate inside of a hospital in 2022. The Sheriff's Office released video 7 days after the family of that man, Joshua Wright, asked for the felony deadly conduct charge against the former deputy to be dropped. So let's walk you through this video now. At the beginning, you see Wright shove Deputy Isaiah Garcia as he's leaving a restroom. Then a chase in that hospital begins. Garcia immediately pulls out his gun. We've decided to pause the video because this is where Garcia shoots Wright inside a hospital hallway while a patient was laying on a gurney nearby. It's important to point out that Wright had on ankle shackles at the time. Garcia was indicted in April of last year. His employment with the sheriff's office ended shortly after this fatal shooting.
Family and friends of a woman convicted of intoxication manslaughter speaking out on her behalf today. The punishment phase of Samantha Castillo's trial underway after she pleaded guilty yesterday. Castillo in 2021 driving drunk on North St. Mary Street when she jumped a curb, hitting bicyclist Beatriz Gonzalez. Since that accident, testimony from defense character witnesses said Castillo had since changed her life around. She even started a nonprofit organization called, quote, Think Twice San Antonio, end quote. It hands out free breathalyzers at events. Her father said she understands there are consequences for her actions.
She knows that she's got a debt to pay, and she's ready to take responsibility. And it's a debt that she's not going to be able to pay with money or anything that happens in this courtroom, but it's a debt that she's going to have to pay through serving others.
A jury will decide her punishment tomorrow. She's facing anywhere from probation to 20 years in prison.
Turn to the forecast now. We don't have triple digits in the corner there, but I bet it feels like it, Adam.
And we did technically hit triple digits today. 100, the high temperature. That's 7 degrees above average and 5 degrees shy of the record set back in 1980. So it marks our 8th 100-degree day. 98 in Pleasanton for the high, along with Hondo and Uvalde. Cotulla made it to triple digits, and Del Rio topped out at 101. So we were anywhere from upper 90s to just over 100. And that's going to be the trend going forward. As we get through this evening, temperatures is gradually falling through the 90s. By 8 o'clock, 93, 10 o'clock, 87, and by midnight, we're at 84. There will be a little extra cloud cover moving in for a brief period of time. We'll talk about that and some dying thunderstorms not very far away, along with tropical moisture we're watching, and when you'll notice the African dust in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Adam. Let's take a look at a bit of a trouble spot. I-10 in Pro Branch. You can see there's a car off there on the shoulder. Tow truck just pulled up. There's that one lane that's blocked off there as traffic is making its way around what appears to be a trouble spot, I-10 at Pro Branch.
How about a draft flow chart? Day 2 of the NBA draft. It's already been a ride for Spurs fans. Last night, San Antonio selected guard Stephen Castle from Connecticut with the 4th pick. Moments later, they took Kentucky guard Rob Dillingham with the 8th. People rejoiced. But Dillingham won't don the silver and black on the court because he was traded to the Timberwolves in exchange for a protected pick in 2030 and a first-round pick in 2031. All right, that may be 7 years away, but Garrett Berger has fans' immediate reactions tonight.
To diehard fans, the Spurs organization doesn't miss. But Wednesday's decision to trade away the 8th overall pick for picks several years into the future had some wondering if the Spurs didn't just put up a brick.
When I saw the draft and I was watching it, I hit the panic button for 2 reasons. The thing about getting 2 guards at once, but then on top of that, trading it immediately.
On X, fans showed signs of whiplash, with one going from best draft ever to never mind, let's see how this turns out in a matter of minutes. Others blasted general manager Brian Wright, or rather, Brian Wrong. One user hoped it was a dream that the Spurs had traded for, quote, a kid who still sleeps with his favorite blanket and has to ask his mom if he can have a sleepover.
7 years from now, assuming they still have this trade, who's their pick?
Some 6th grader right now? I don't know. No idea.
Some hope there was a method to the madness, a possible prospect that far out. Or maybe it was the setup for another massive trade deal. The fans we talked to today hope they can trust the process.
Hopefully for a good cause, you know what I mean? Hopefully it's for a better reason to have our Spurs back on track like how we used to be.
and trust Greg Popovich.
Pop make all the calls, so whatever happened with that team, Pop got to say so, the yes or the no. So whatever move was made, I think it was Pop know what he doing. I think he made the right choice.
And that there's more in the works.
My thought process is they're not going to intend to actually draft anyone with it and use it as in a trade situation, in which case, depending on who we get in that trade, I think that would dictate whether or not it was good.
We'll have 7 years to see if it's a dunk or an air ball. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
All right, stay with me here. 2031. How old are Manu Ginobili's twins? Just saying.
Hey, that's a theory.
That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah,
Okay.
They're holding out for the Ginobilis.
Make sure we get that on Twitter. That's where it's all official, right?
Okay, good. Good to know.
Still ahead on the news at 6, the summer travel season is in full swing at the San Antonio airport. After the break, some tips on how to make your next trip a little bit smoother.
First, let's take a look outside with live cam. Starting to get dusty, maybe? Adam Caskey will explain why and have an update on the tropics coming up.
For hundreds of thousands of people in San Antonio, summer plans are up in the air. In other words, they all have plans to fly out of town for vacation.
As Katrina Weber shows us, San Antonio International Airport says they're expecting them and offering advice for how to make it a smooth trip.
We're going to Cancun. We're excited.
Going back home to Atlanta, my second home.
Vegas, baby.
Their destinations may be different, but the journey is the same, at least for anyone whose summer travel plans pass through San Antonio's airport.
We're expecting it to be busy.
Those expectations are already coming true. The airport just saw a year of record-breaking crowds with no signs of slowing down anytime soon.
TSA is expecting from this Saturday till the Sunday after the 4th of July to see over 300,000 passengers.
Please have the IDs and the boarding passes out and ready.
To keep yourself from slowing down, the airport now recommends arriving 2 hours before boarding time for domestic flights, 3 hours for international.
Actually, I'm running a little behind, I think, but my flight boards at 11:40.
Stephanie B. got the memo, still she fell behind. Luckily, the security line was moving quickly.
This airport has been pretty simple, but it's full of people, so get here early.
Another thing to factor in would be the time it takes to find a place to park, especially during peak travel times. It may be best to have someone drop you off.
It was a lot of people, so we have to go to the back parking, and we went around a couple of times.
Driving in caused the Bravo family to cut it close for their Cancun flight.
We go every year, and I think this is the busiest it's been.
The biggest thing is just give yourself plenty of time. You don't want to rush it.
With a little work, vacation time can get off to a smooth start. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
All right, if you were going somewhere, where would you go?
Definitely cooler.
Yeah.
Cooler.
Vegas and Cancun, that's not cooler.
Vegas sounds brutal.
Atlanta, that's not cooler.
Time of year.
Atlanta's maybe more humid.
Yeah.
We're
lucky it's a dry heat.
I think we should all go to the Caskey estate in Minnesota.
Yeah, the estate. My parents' small little corner condo that they're in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, it is cooler up there, I will tell you that. And temperature-wise, we're in the thick of summer, and we're going to continue with what we have out there and what we've been feeling. So I want to get right to it and talk about a little bit of shower activity that's off to the northeast of us right now. Let's take a look at Authority radar. And there's a little bit of activity that flared up over College Station. Now it's starting to rain itself out. It's almost completely dissipated, and it's thrown a nice outflow boundary westward toward Cameron and then thereafter Georgetown and Round Rock. Now, I'm pointing this out because it's not going to make it here, but the leftover clouds are likely to make it here. You see the blow-off high clouds already streaming over Hallettsville. Gonzales getting in on some of the blow-off high clouds as well. And the remnant cloud cover will stick around a lot longer, or a long time after the rain dissipates, and that plume of cloud cover is going to be drifting southward. And some of it, especially the high thin clouds, could give us a pretty nice sunset, at least in some communities. And you see the steering flow around the upper high pushing that thunderstorm southwestward, but unfortunately it's not going to make it to San Antonio. This is still acting like a blocking mechanism for a good chunk of Texas. Now we're looking at the tropics and this broad cluster of storms in the Caribbean. It's not organized at all, and it's not expected to become very organized, but it is going to head westward with a very low-end chance of it becoming an actual tropical depression, unlikely to become a tropical storm. But we look for these systems to bring us much needed rainfall, which is what we got last week. This, however, is likely to stay a little too far to the south of us to bring us any good moisture. Notice by Saturday evening, it's in the southern Gulf of Mexico, and we talked about the travelers going to Cancun. Well, this is passing right overhead. They're going to have a few days of off and on rain. And then it hits eastern Mexico, and the northern fringes of it could make it into some of our southern counties south of Highway 90, and especially in the valley on Sunday. But I think for us, it's only at best a 20% chance, at best, as we get into Sunday. But there will be a little extra cloud cover, and that should keep our temperatures probably in the mid-90s for highs as we get on into Sunday. Otherwise, a few coastal showers, and that's it. We're also watching this area way out in the Atlantic, that cluster of thunderstorms, which has a higher likelihood of turning into a tropical cyclone as it heads westward. It has a lot more water, warm water, a lot of energy in that water, more warm water to travel over and time to organize into a system. So that's something we'll watch then as it progresses, and then as we get into the time frame well into next week and thereafter even. All right, you look outside today, a little bit of haze in the air, but not a big deal, not too noticeable. There's just a slight amount of African dust overhead at the moment. It's going to get thicker, however, and more noticeable, especially as we get into Sunday. Sunday's when that African dust is, I think, going to shroud out the downtown skyline a little bit more. Not as bad as when we had the smoke. Remember the smoke from weeks ago, the annual agricultural burning? It's not going to be quite as bad, but you will notice it, and it will especially give us more vibrant sunrises and sunsets. So coming up at 6:45, we'll talk more about that in depth, show you the computer models for the African dust. And my computer's frozen up, so I'm trying to call up a little bit of the 7-day forecast for you. Here you go. All right, there we go. Hey, it's more of the same, right? Mid to upper 90s for high temperatures, and Sunday there's that 20% chance.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, so I'm curious if he FaceTimed from France or if he's in San Antonio. We're talking about Wemby reaching out to the latest Spur.
I wish I knew Victor Wembanyama's travel schedule. That would be very nice.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I don't. But yeah, Victor Wembanyama loves the Spurs' decision to draft Stephon Castle, number 4 overall. And as you can imagine, the feeling is mutual. More from Larry on the 2024 NBA draft. National team continues its trek in Copa America group stage against Panama. Stay with us.
I just can't wait to get out there and show my versatility, especially with, the kind of talent that, we already have on that team.
Stephon Castle, Victor Wembanyama excited to link up in Big Board Sports. The 2024 NBA Draft is officially a wrap out on the East Coast. The San Antonio Spurs walk away from their first draft in the Wemby era with 3 rookies and some future picks. Today, San Antonio selected Juan Nunez at number 36 after a trade, a 6'5" Spanish guard pick-and-roll playmaker. And at 48, the Spurs selected Harrison Ingram, a Texas native, 6'6" guard out of UNC. San Antonio said they were impressed with Ingram's pre-draft workout. 2 solid additions to the silver and black system. Larry Ramirez joins us now live from Brooklyn. Larry, all the attention, though, is on the Spurs' number 4 overall pick right now, Stephon Castle.
Absolutely, and what a player, Mary, the Spurs got with that 4th overall selection. And some sports books are listing Castle as the favorite to win the 2024-25 NBA Rookie of the Year award. Now, if he does win it, that'll give the Spurs back-to-back Roy winners, of course, following in the footsteps of Victor Wembanyama. So the Spurs selected Castle with the 4th overall pick last night, and the young man is ready to get to San Antonio and get to work with this new team. Castle is an elite defender, and he has experience playing with a 7-footer in his former UConn teammate Donovan Clingan, who was drafted 7th by the Trailblazers. Moments after the Spurs drafted him, Castle briefly talked on the phone with Coach Pop, and then he spoke with Wemby via FaceTime.
Yo. What's good, brother? I know who you are, bro.
Bro, I just want to welcome you, bro. It's going to be incredible.
For sure.
I'm so happy with what we did.
For sure, me too.
How you feel? I'm super excited to start working.
For sure.
Honestly, bro, welcome.
For sure, I can't wait to get out there, buddy.
For sure.
All right, bro. I see you soon. For sure.
Enjoy your night.
For sure.
I know who you are. That part cracked me up. So during a press conference in Paris yesterday, Wemby said he's very happy with the team selecting Castle and that he was one of the few NBA-ready players in this year's draft. Mary, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Larry. All right. How about former Wagner star Kevin McCullough Jr., who was drafted 56 overall by the New York Knicks? The 6'7" wing was a two-time All Big 12 selection with stints in Texas Tech and Kansas. His moment was temporarily overshadowed by Bronny James being selected right before him to join forces with his dad, and the Lakers nonetheless wishing McCullough all the best. The U.S. men's national team is in action right now against their CONCACAF counterparts, Panama, in the group stage of Copa America. The U.S. is coming off of a tournament opening 1-0 win over Bolivia. Here's a live scoring update. Both are tied 1-1 in the opening frame. Let's hear from one of the players about their approach entering this game.
Making sure we can really take the moments that we have, especially in tournament play, and put games away when we have the opportunities to. And as much as we do have a plan going into games, also, being the players that we are and looking for, all the other alternatives on how to solve problems that arise within games.
1-1 again. U.S. Panama will have the highlights tonight on the Night Beat. Exciting game.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mary.
We have answers to your medical questions in Doc Talk coming up next. Every week, we take your medical questions straight to local doctors to get you some answers. And joining us today is Dr. Amy Cobb with University Health. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
All right, first question is from Leo. And Leo says, can you explain the importance of vitamin D? I just found out I am vitamin D deficient and want to know what it's affecting.
Okay. Vitamin D is incredibly deficient and are incredibly common to be deficient. And the way I think about this is in modern day, we're not outdoors all day with minimal clothing like our ancestors. So vitamin D can affect many parts of our organ system. So first of all, we think about bone health, right? Vitamin D helps us absorb calcium and phosphorus. In children who don't have enough vitamin D, they can have rickets. In adults, it can lead to osteoporosis. It's also linked to immune function. So you might have heard of a lot of the studies that came out around COVID saying that severe COVID was linked to vitamin D deficiency. This is because we think vitamin D helps our immune system work better. It's also related to autoimmune conditions like multiple sclerosis. So vitamin D deficiency can lead to more likely to have an autoimmune disease like that. It can also be linked to cancers. So certain cancers, the more vitamin D deficient, the more likely you're to have that type of cancer. That includes prostate and colon. There are probably things we don't even know about that vitamin D does. And here's the thing, you can get vitamin D from the sun. It does depend a little bit about where you are in the world, what time of day, how much clothing you have on, and your skin color. So the darker your skin color, the more time you have to spend outside. And there are some foods that have vitamin D. We think about egg yolks, fatty fish, and then some foods are fortified with vitamin D, like dairy.
Okay. Next question. This person is saying, I'm diabetic and I think I might have restless leg syndrome. What are some of the symptoms of restless leg syndrome?
So restless leg syndrome is this irresistible urge to move your legs, and it's usually described as very uncomfortable. So people might say that they have like a throbbing or like a tingling or an aching, and it's relieved by moving your legs. So when you move your legs, you feel better. It usually happens in both legs. It would be unusual just to be in one, and it usually happens when you're at rest, especially at night. A couple things that you might think about here are, what is your sleep quality? So sleep apnea is one of those things that can be linked with restless leg syndrome. Iron deficiency is another one, so we often check iron levels in people with restless leg. And there are several things you can do, getting exercise during the day, making sure you're hydrated. There are some compression garments and vibrations that you can do, as well as some medications.
Is it common to have restless leg and diabetes?
Yes, it is. And the reason we think that this might be is that diabetes can cause damage to your nerves, and then that in turn may lead to a higher risk of restless leg syndrome.
All right, next question. What are the signs of a brain blockage or aneurysm?
Okay, so there's two main bad things that can happen to our blood vessels. So the blockage, means there's a narrowing to the blood vessel. We think about mostly from plaque, and then you can have an embolism, which would be something like a clot that comes and just completely cuts off flow. This can lead to a transient ischemic attack, or TIA, as well as ischemic stroke. Symptoms here are going to be the sudden weakness or drooping on one side of the face, in your arm or leg, feeling weak or numb, slurred speech, really severe headache or dizziness. The other thing that was mentioned, the aneurysm, this is the other kind of real bad thing that can happen to our blood vessels. So this is a bulging out or ballooning of our blood vessels due to weakening of the blood vessel walls. And an unruptured aneurysm, so an aneurysm that's intact, can still cause symptoms because it can push on stuff like our nerves and our brain. And so you might get headaches and weakness, numbness, blurry vision, things like that. If the aneurysm bursts, that's what we call hemorrhagic stroke. And that can cause, often we say, the severe worst headache of your life. And then you can have the weakness, the numbness, the other things. Often there's neck stiffness, sensitivity to light. Time is brain. So if you have any of these symptoms, you must call 911 right away and get urgent medical care.
Yeah, call 911.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Time is certainly of the essence there. Okay, we have 4th of July coming up. Fireworks go along with that. So what are some tips for fireworks safety with this holiday right around the corner?
Right, so in 2023, there were about 8 deaths in the U.S. due to fireworks and 9,700 injuries. Most of these happened to teenagers, 15 to 17, not a huge surprise there. But the second most common group was our 5 to 9-year-old children. And even things like sparklers, I know I played with them as a child, they burn at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot enough to melt many metals. If that gets on your eye or a spark catches the clothes on fire, even touches the skin, that's a 3rd-degree burn automatically. So my recommendation is to leave it to the professionals. There's a lot of reasons to do this. One, to prevent the burns and the injuries. Also, it helps protect the hearing because you're going to have more distance away from those fireworks. Or you can consider other alternative celebrations. I know my family, we love to do water balloon fights for the 4th of July. It's a great way to stay cool and have fun. Could still get injured, I have a really good arm, but for the most part, most part it's safe.
Pop a balloon.
Good to know.
There you go. All right, we're going to talk about Joey Chestnut coming up a little bit later. Do hot dogs pose a choking risk for young children? Until what age is choking a concern?
Yeah, so a hot dog is the perfect size and shape to block the windpipe or the trachea. So we do recommend for children under the age of 4 that we're cutting those lengthwise into quarters. But for older children, I know my kids sometimes, they're like, can I run around and jump around with food? No, you still want them to be seated, even with a hot dog, but the magic age here is 4. And that goes for other common choking hazards that we talk about, like nuts and grapes as well.
Okay, good to know. Dr. Amy Comm, University Health, as always, thanks for being here.
Yeah, and I do not want to get in a balloon fight with you.
Should ask
That's a good safety.
Got an arm.
Yeah, that's a good safety tip right there.
All right, scan this QR code. Let us know what medical questions you have. We will take them straight to local doctors every Thursday here at 6. We'll be right back.
That's funny. Tonight, the first presidential debate of the year in what has been a politically polarizing matchup. Experts say elections like this one can actually impact a person's mental health.
Yeah, especially if there are prior problems there. Mandy Gaither has ways to help ease election stress and anxiety.
It's Trump versus Biden again. And whether you're left, right, or in the middle, all sides are subject to concern for the future.
What I see in my daily practice is people worried about finances, about their mental health, their physical health. If you already have a little bit of depression or anxiety, it can exaggerate that.
Psychiatrist Dr. Thomas Valenti says our brains don't like change, leaving us vulnerable to stress and the start of a downward spiral, which can lead to anxiety and depression.
Regardless of what political party you assign yourself to, there's a 50-50 chance that your candidate may not win. And so that starts the cycle for some people of being fear-based.
Valenti says to ease election stress by limiting exposure, take a break from all things related to the election, especially if it's creating anxiety. Next, keep up a healthy routine by eating well, exercising, and getting good quality sleep. And remember, the election will end.
I think some people just can't see that. They can't see through it. And then it just tends to build to a crescendo where it's overwhelming.
Finally, seek help either from friends, family, or a mental health professional. Talking about your worries can ease the burden.
Medication can help. So can psychotherapy, counseling, meditation, yoga, art, aromatherapy. It's not just one path or one treatment.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Fresh air helps, right?
Yeah, exercise.
Even if it's really toasty, fresh
Yeah.
air.
Oh, yeah, I had a good 3.8 mile ruck earlier today. 40 pounds on my back, and it was hot. I was right around noon when I did it. I was wearing shoes, Steve.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you addressed that.
I mowed the lawn today.
There you go.
I worked up a sweat on that riding lawnmower.
I was going to say, you sat down the whole time, didn't you? Put a weighted vest on or something.
Oh, yeah.
Put some weights in a backpack. It's
Next
fun.
time. Yeah.
Next time. There's always next time. 100 today. It's our 8th 100-degree day. 7 degrees above average, 5 degrees shy of the record. I'll show you the African dust forecast in just a bit.
Okay, we got some of that dust to talk about in an extra special Therm Thurs.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, this is a good Therm Thurs. You know, it's okay. I was about to talk about it. You know how I get. You sidetrack me and I get excited about something. I want to first get through that. Let's talk about what some of us saw in the sky today with the high thin cirrus clouds streaming overhead. You may have seen a little halo around the sun. We actually get that fairly frequently around here when the cirrus clouds aren't too thick, and it's caused from the bending of the sunlight through the ice crystals high in the sky. Those cirrus clouds are made of all ice crystals, hexagonal prisms. And if the light reflects, or I should say refracts proper ways, then you get that halo effect around the sun. Little bits of dust in the air right now, not very noticeable, but I want to point out the thicker plume of dust is over the Gulf of Mexico by Saturday, and then it's going to move into town into Sunday. So by Sunday, I anticipate you really noticing that extra haze in the sky, and of course more vibrant sunrises and sunsets. It makes them just a little more colorful. A little thunderstorm fell apart after it moved through College Station just a little bit ago, but some of the leftover cloud cover from that is streaming to the southwest and already hitting Hallettsville to Gonzales, LaGrange, and I think we'll get some of these clouds as well, which really more than anything could make for a beautiful sunset this evening if you look off to the northeast and you see the low angle light bouncing off the bottom of those high clouds. Could give some of us a pretty good view, good colorful sunset. Otherwise, upper level high still generally in control. You see the steering flow around it has the steering winds coming in from East Texas. That's why those College Station storms were moving northeast to southwest. Now the upper level high is going to shift around in the days ahead, and the door will be open by next week for some tropical moisture, just we won't have any available. Right now there's available moisture. This is a cluster of storms, very unorganized in the Caribbean. It's going to head westward over the Yucatan Peninsula into the southern Gulf by this weekend. I do think it'll throw some extra clouds our way on Sunday, but the vast majority of the moisture is likely to stay south of us in Mexico. We could just get clipped by a few brief light showers, a few hundredths of an inch here and there, so a 20% chance of rain as we get into Sunday, and that's especially south of town. 8 100-degree days so far this year, though I like our trend compared to last year. Last year we had 75 total, and of course that was the most on record. If there was a heat record to be broken last year, we broke it. Upper 90s still in town, 99 at the airport. Dew point is 71. That's the key. So the feels like temperature is over 100 degrees. It feels like it's between 105 and 110 for those afternoon highs. Going forward, it's going to be more of the same. We're talking high temperatures, upper 90s right near 100, but when you factor in the humidity, it'll feel like it's even warmer than that, with at times, especially closer to the Gulf Coast, some heat index values closer to 110 at times. Oh, there we go. There's that heat index. Yeah, I'm having some computer problems. It's locking up on me. Time for me to call my friends at Barron Services. Anyway, let's take a look at our very special Thermometer Thursday. We know a lot of folks we're saying goodbye to around here in their days of retirement. So I wanted to have a little extra special goodbye to one here and had a little fun with it. So take a peek. Get back here. What have you been begging for 9, 10 years? Been here? 10 years?
Then I've been begging for 10 years.
I present to you your retirement thermometer, Mr. Todd.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I watched you put these together all this time and got my own now. Thanks.
You're welcome, buddy. Congrats. God, they're like, yeah, that was a solid blast. Solid blast. Happy Therm Thurs.
Todd Stricker.
Yes,
Yep.
Todd.
Well
the
deserved.
Todd, absolutely.
And, he always gave me the subtleties. Like, we'd work on trucks together, our trucks. We have similar models of old trucks. And he'd be like, oh, thank you so much. Well, a thermometer would do, just those really subtle ones. And I was always like, I know, I don't have one ready yet. So I was like, I have to get one before his last day and surprise him because he hates being on camera. He likes to be on the other side of the camera.
That's right.
Where we were chasing storms together and we covered the EF2 tornado that hit Linda Drive. Several years ago, he was driving and I was, in the storm chaser with him. And he was often the one down at the coast with Justin, during the hurricane.
Yeah. So storm chaser.
Yeah, so he was there and deserves a lot of that credit and getting just a few hours of sleep covering those storms.
We know what he's going to be doing in retirement. It's going to be chasing storms.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
For sure. We'll miss him. All right. Thank you, Adam.
Be right back with the buzz. Competitive eater Joey Chestnut will be celebrating the nation's birthday by doing what he does best, eating hot dogs. He's a wiener. However, it won't be in New York. Instead, the Nathan's famous hot dog eating champion and world record holder will be competing against some soldiers at Fort Bliss in El Paso.
Oh, Kasky is scolding me so hard for laughing at that. It will be part of the Army base's annual Pop Goes the Fort Independence Day celebration. And accepting the invite, Chestnut wrote on social media, quote, "Bring me your best 4 eaters and I'll take them down combined."
Wow.
The 2024 Gerber baby has been chosen. Look at that smile. This is Akil McLeod, who's also known as Sonny. The 1-year-old from Arizona loves reading his squishy ABC book and watching football with his family.
The company says Sonny's smile captured their hearts, and that's why his face will be seen on Gerber's marketing campaigns and social media channels this year. Look at that smile. The family of the Gerber baby wins a $25,000 prize and free products from Gerber and other companies.
Just those cheeks.
I know.
So cute.
Way to go.
That's all our time here at 6. Thanks so much for watching.
See you on the Night Beat at 10 after the debate.